a tiny wooden plaque, a simple picture of Santa. Then I added tiny clay pieces and something magical happened. It felt like I was building Christmas memories. Rudolph, candy canes, bells, and all the little moments that make the holidays feel warm and full of wonder. I'm going to show you how I created this magical Christmas keepsake. Hello, my crafty friends. I'm Donna from Mason Creations, etc. And welcome to my channel. If you're ready, let's make a mess. I'm going to use this 6.5-inch round board to make my Christmas memories plaque. They're a little flimsy, so I'm gluing 2 of them together for some extra stability. I'm using Aleene's tacky glue and then clipping them together, and I'll let this set overnight. I removed the clips and now I'm giving it a quick sanding to make sure there are no rough edges, and then I'll wipe off the dust. I'm using Dixie Belle paint in the color cotton to add some white paint to where I'm going to decoupage my Santa picture. This and all the products you're going to see me use today came from decoupagenapkins.com, my wonderful sponsors. I just love this rice paper. I'm going to be adding a lot to this little plaque, so I'll need to use the small picture. I'll save that larger one and we'll do a fun project with it next year. I'm using water brush to separate the pictures. A water brush has a cartridge that you fill with water and then brush it on the napkin or rice paper. The water dispenses easily, so this is really convenient. I'm cutting out my image in a circle. I always tear my rice paper, but this is going to have trim around the circle, so you'll never see the cut edges. I measured so I could get the picture in the exact center of the board. I'm using Polyvine Heavy Duty Wood Varnish as my decoupage adhesive today. You can use this product as a varnish and an adhesive, which is true for all the Polyvine formulas. It works so much better than the most popular brand of decoupage glue. It's not a glue, so it doesn't go on thick and lumpy. It's a varnish, so it dries crystal clear and will never yellow. All the Polyvine varnishes can be used as decoupage glue, so feel free to use whichever one you have on hand. I painted white just under where I'm going to decoupage. You always want to paint white under your decoupaged images. It makes the colors of your image look vibrant. Dark colors will make your image look dull. I'm using my favorite, Doss clay, to make some embellishments for this project. Doss clay is so easy to work with, dries quickly, and has very little shrinkage or cracking when dry. It's perfect for making molded pieces. After pressing the clay into the molds, I'm scraping off the excess with my palette knife. And then smoothing the clay out with some water. Then I'll put them in the freezer for 20 minutes. Freezing the clay makes it rigid so they just pop out of the mold easily. Fresh out of the freezer, watch how easily these just pop out of the molds. No delicate little pieces will break off. They are frozen solid, so I'll need to let them thaw for a few minutes, but not in the mold. Make sure you remove them from the mold right away as soon as you take them out of the freezer. I'm going to use Aleene's tacky glue to add my molded clay to my piece. I need to add this while the clay is still wet so it'll conform to the piece as it dries. This is the best glue I've found for attaching wet clay. If any glue seeps out from under the clay, I'm removing it right away with a clean, damp brush. I'm also pressing down all the edges of the clay very delicately to make sure they're all connecting with the piece. Because you're watching this video today, decoupagenapkins.com is going to give you a 10% discount on one order That's a minimum of at least $50. This is a one-time discount and is good on your entire order when you use the code MASON10 in all caps at checkout. You can also use this discount in conjunction with the free shipping on orders over $75. So now you can get that mold you've been eyeing or some additional rice papers you've been wanting. Even if you've been ordering from them in the past, you can still take advantage of this one-time 10% discount when using the code above. I'll leave all this information for you in my description box below. I also made some trim to go around the edge of the plaque, and I used tacky glue to attach this as well. You're going to see me use a lot of different tools that make life so much easier. Things like a turquoise cup cradle to keep round objects from getting away, a bow dabra that makes bows in a snap, a water brush for separating rice paper and napkins, nail art brushes for fine detail work, palette knives, a rhinestone picker, and others. All of these items are listed in my description box below in my favorite tools section, just in case you'd like to check any of them out. To find my description box, click on the word more just below the title of this video. I let the clay dry overnight and I see that I didn't smash the two pieces of trim together good enough, and it left a little bit of a separation. I'm going to fix it easily though. I'm rolling up a small amount of clay to a thin little roll. I'm adding a little glue in the crevice and putting the clay in that separation. I pushed it into place with a dry brush and cut off the excess ends with my palette knife. Then using my palette knife, I added little lines in the wet clay that matched what was on the original molded pieces. I pulled out all my little Christmas molds, filled them with DOS clay, and I just got them all out of the freezer. I may not use all of them, but they're ready to go if I need them. Before I got started gluing all my little Christmas memory embellishments on the plaque, I decided to drill holes at the top for hanging. This turns out so adorable and can be used to hang on a large tree as an ornament or on the wall as a plaque. Where are you all watching from, my crafty friends? Let me know in the comments. I just love to see what cities and countries all my friends are watching from. I'm filming from sunny Las Vegas, Nevada in the United States. And now it's time to glue all these amazing Christmas memories on the plaque. I'm using Aleene's tacky glue and attaching the molded pieces to the plaque while the clay is still wet. This way, as they dry, they'll conform to wherever I put them. My crafty friend Mary G asked me to make a special ornament for her. She sent me some pictures, and although I did not copy the pictures, I used them as a guide loosely. The pictures showed a round ornament or plaque that had a decoupaged picture in the middle and lots of ornate little elements around the picture. This is my version, and Mary, this video is for you. DecoupageNapkins.com has such a great selection of napkins that you can purchase one at a time. They carry many other craft supplies such as rice paper, paint, clay, molds, and a great selection of polyvine products. Over 9,000 products and growing. They are wonderful to work with and will send out your order fast. You'll receive free shipping on orders over $75 and special bonus points for orders over $100. Subscribe to their newsletter by entering your email address and you'll receive 10% off your next order. This discount is separate from the Mason 10 discount and may be used on a separate order. They are truly your one-stop shop for craft supplies. Make sure you check them out. I'll be leaving links for all the products I use in my description box below, as well as more information on the previously mentioned promotions. Please note that any of these promotions are subject to future changes. I let all that clay dry overnight, and now it's time to start painting. If I were going to paint each individual little piece, including all the side edges, This would be a complete nightmare. So I'm going to do this the easy way by doing the antique first. I want this to be slightly muted colors, so I'm going to use Pentart paint and the color Hazelnut as my base antique color. It's a light to medium brown. I'm going to paint everything but my Santa picture this color, and I'm making sure to get it in all the little cracks and crevices. Now that I have my antique down and dry, all I have to do is paint the tops of each piece, which is so much easier. It's a little more than dry brushing. I'm not putting a lot of paint on my brush because I don't want the paint to pool in any of the cracks and crevices. So I'm putting the paint on lightly, and I'll go over it until the depth of color is what I'm looking for. I'm going to give you all the colors that I used right now up front, and you can sit back, relax, and enjoy listening to some Christmas music and watch the beautiful transformation. I'm using Pentart in the color red for all the poinsettias, bows, and ribbons, and the little Santa hat. Pentart in the color black for the Nutcracker's hat and pants, as well as the snowman's hat. Pentart in the color leaf green for the edging. Pentart pine green for the Christmas trees. Pentart vintage green for the holly leaves and the leaves with the roses. Pentart silver for all the bells and rocking horses saddle. A little bit of dry brushing with Pentart white coffee for the reindeer and gingerbread man, as well as the mane and tail on the rocking horse. Pentart rose for all the tiny roses. Pentart purple for the little gift. Pentart dark blue for the Nutcracker's jacket and one of the tiny tree ornaments. Pentart gold for the trim on the Nutcracker's jacket, the ribbon on the gift, and the tops of the tiny ornaments. Folk art light flesh for the Nutcracker's face as well as Santa's face. Pentart light brown for the reindeer's antlers. I dry brushed the rocking horse with Pentart dark sand. Pentart turquoise blue for the snowman's scarf and one of the tiny tree ornaments. Dixie Belle chalk paint in the color cotton for the snowman and Santa's beard, as well as anything else that's painted white. Pentart mallow for one of the tiny tree ornaments, as well as some dry brushing on the tiny roses. I used Dixie Belle white to add snow to the Christmas trees. Chalk paint is pretty thick, which is why I watered it down. I don't want to do a heavy coat, just very light and frosty looking. I dipped my brush in the paint and then dabbed most of it off on a paper towel. I'm just lightly skimming my brush across all the high points in the 3D texture. When you dry brush, you want your brush literally almost dry. This process is going to mute all those colors, so if you wanted to keep the bright colors, you could skip this step. I test all the products that I recommend in my videos. I won't recommend anything that I haven't used myself and prefer. If I'm recommending it, you can bet it's a great product. Each product will be listed in my description box below and will have a blue link to make it easy for you to find. Any of the links I provide are safe for you to click on. To find my description box, click on the word More just below the title of this video. I let the paint dry for about 30 minutes, and now I'm giving the entire plaque a coat of the Polyvine Heavy Duty Wood Varnish in a satin finish. This will seal and protect my frosty paint job. I'm making sure to get the Santa picture too, and I'll let that dry for about an hour. I'm going to do just a very tiny bit of antiquing. I'm using Folk Art Antiquing Medium in the color Wooden Bucket Brown. and I'm adding a little bit of water to it. I like my antique a little runny. If you don't water it down, sometimes it can go on too heavy. I'm only going to add this where the clay meets the decoupaged image. I'm brushing it on and then wiping it back right away before it dries. This will lift the clay away from the image for a more 3D appearance. Also, you're going to like this little trick. If you have any little white spots where your paint didn't quite get all the way to where the clay meets the board, this is going to cover all of those spots. Pretty cool, huh? This is where it's really going to get frosty. I'm going to dry brush using Dixie Belle Pearlescent Glaze. This will add so much beauty to this plaque. I'm doing the same exact thing I did with the white paint. I'm dabbing my brush in the paint, wiping some of it off on a paper towel, and then lightly brushing it over all the high points of the 3D embellishments. I'll let that dry for about an hour. This is a glaze, so it won't need to be sealed. If you're enjoying this video, please let me know by hitting that like button. When you click the like button, a new hype button shows up. If you click that, you'll be able to send points to my channel. YouTube will then send this video out to more viewers. This is great for my channel. I appreciate you for doing that. You won't want to miss any of the new projects coming up, so don't forget to subscribe. I'm using redesigned decor wax in the color Eternal, which is a gorgeous gold. I added a little of it to just the 3 tiny tree ornaments to bring out their detail. I put a little on my finger and rubbed it together with my thumb to prevent a large amount from going in one spot. From all the dry brushing, the gold and silver paint lost its luster, so I'm going to touch that up. I'm going to add some glittery gold trim around the edge of this plaque. The way it is right now, you can see the edge of the wood base, and I want to cover that up. Then I threaded some shimmery gold ribbon through the holes at the top. I tied it in a knot and then tied the tails in a bow. And I used a red rhinestone so Rudolph could have a shiny red nose. I'm going to hang a gold tassel from the center of a gold bow. I'm going to add this to the bottom of the plaque. Don't forget, all of the wonderful products I'm using today can be found at my favorite place for craft supplies, decoupagenapkins.com, and I'll leave you links in my description box below. And of course, I added a fancy embellishment to the center of the bow. I put together a Christmas playlist with some other tutorials you may enjoy. Click the picture on the right to be taken to that playlist. I'm so happy you were here with me today, and thanks so much for watching. I can't wait to see you all next week. I'm working on a new Christmas project with you in mind. You can subscribe by clicking my picture in the top right corner.